Hi and welcome to my first YouTube video ever. Today I want to be talking about how easy it is to eat less meat and become vegan in 2020. The first thing you need to know is what veganism actually is. A lot of people think it's just a diet, but it actually is a whole way of lifestyle. Lifestyle in that I can't consume or use, if you don't really understand the word consume, any animal products. So I cannot wear leather, but I can also not eat eggs. So the diet is called plant-based, and that means I only eat anything that comes from plants. Veganism is a huge change, and it scares a lot of people, and not only because of social media kind of showing off these really aggressive vegans. A lot of people are born into eating meat, which is a really difficult concept to comprehend, that you need to cut it out completely. The first trick is to find yourself a motivation, because if you don't have a motivation, you really won't be able to be vegan or just eat less meat in general. There's so many reasons to be vegan nowadays and to eat less meat in general, and all of those reasons should be a part of why you're doing it, but you should have one main one. Mine is that my actions never lined up with my morals. I believe in no forms of cruelty, whether that's towards animals or humans. And because of that, I decided to be vegan, and there's so much harm being done to animals, so I thought that the best way to cut out all forms of animal cruelty and cruelty in general is to be vegan. There are plenty of people who do it for the physical aspect and health reasons, which is amazing, and there's so many benefits to becoming vegan that the motivation is really easy to find. You just need to find it. My second and most important tip is do research. If you don't do research, being vegan is going to be impossible. You need to know and understand how much calories you need to consume and all nutrients you need. Because if you don't, all of that will become a danger to your health. And it's pretty scary to think that I have friends who have gotten extremely sick being vegan because they didn't do their research. Also, doing your research introduces you to so many new meals and so many other people that are vegan. So you really want to do your research and find out who or what or where you can be vegan. Being vegan for me, I've learned so much from cookbooks, from websites, from other people who are vegan, and I've learned so much about being zero waste and so many more alternatives I've been introduced to, and so many different foods that I didn't even know existed. Know your proteins. The number one question you're most likely going to be asked when you say you're trying to eat less meat is, where are you going to get your proteins from? Now, this kind of ties into my last tip, that you have to do your research and find them all out. One thing is, you can incorporate everything into your diet. There is not only one form, it's not you only have to eat nuts. There are so many different alternatives, and even if you're not interested in just eating tofu all day, you don't need to eat tofu all day. And it's better off that you do have a variety of different proteins in your diet, so you don't feel like you're eating the same thing every day. My favorite are chickpeas. I also like incorporating almonds because almonds have so much protein, and any type of nuts. I just kind of snack on nuts all the time. But there are nuts allergies, and there's ways to get around that. Something really important about being vegan and eating less meat is you need to find people that are there to support you and help you. If everybody in your life is criticizing you for this, it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually comprehend the lifestyle and even pursue it. So I suggest that you find a good group of either friends, family, and really make a plan, one, and two, make sure that they support you 100%, because you can do it, and it's so simple when you really figure out what you're doing. You need those supporters if you want to get through it. When you are starting to eat less meat, you have to go at your own pace. That doesn't mean that all of the sudden you have to start eating tofu and you can't have any forms of animal products. You can start with easy meatless Mondays and you just don't eat meat on Mondays, and slowly progress that to your everyday life instead of just it being on Mondays. Or you can just, like me, stop eating meat completely and find ways to put all these plant-based proteins into your diet. And then go from there and cut off eggs, cheese, which is the hardest, and more. When you finally have supporters, you've done your research, you have a motivation, and all of the rest, you need to come up with a plan. So this is kind of tied into going at your own pace. You need a plan, and if you don't have this plan, it's not going to work out well. This plan includes meal plans. It is so important to have meal plans, and I cannot stress it enough. When you start off your plan, I suggest starting off with meals because the plant-based is kind of the easiest to get into. Something is that you should be eating 3 times a day. I try to do this as much as possible, yet I know people at my school who definitely don't eat 3 times a day and skip lunch. So eating 3 times a day really expands how much nutrients and vitamins and everything you need in your diet comes in these 3 meals. So maybe if you missed a few things in your breakfast and dinner, you can introduce them at lunch. Once you have meal plans and you're eating 3 times a day like you should, and including all those nutrients and calories and drinking enough water, that makes it so simple to actually indulge yourself in the lifestyle, and you won't have any questions anymore. Take out all your clothing with either, some people have coats with duck feathers, leather jackets, all of that you kind of get rid of out of your closet by either donating it. Becoming vegan leads to more options. So when you do have this plan, it becomes so much easier to open and expand your options. You'll really get to look at the world from a different point of view. Figure out some vegan websites. Now, a lot of these will come in handy, whether that is just about diets or figuring out more about sustainable clothing. When you use vegan websites, they always help because they do give you information that I could not give you, or someone else who has just been vegan for a short amount of time can. That's where I've gotten most of my information. And even if you are already vegan, I suggest signing up to a whole bunch of email websites and others because it gives you tips and tricks that you might have not thought about beforehand. Veganuary is a vegan blog, but also they send you emails just in the month of January to introduce you into a vegan lifestyle. It will send you emails about different meal plans, different tips and tricks, and it can really help you out a lot. Another website I like to use is Wholesome Culture. They do have sustainable clothing with little cute messages on it, but also the fact that they have a blog on the website which can introduce you into a whole bunch of new vegan meals and vegan clothing that you might have not thought about before. They also talk about zero waste if you're interested in that, and finding information about vegan clothing is so important. Veganism isn't that hard to change into. Once you have a motivation, friends supporting you, all of that, it becomes really simple. So don't let people scare you by the word vegan. Don't let the word vegan scare you. It's just a lifestyle and it's super simple to get into. Without the support of families because of cultures or beliefs, that it might be harder for you to cut out a few things than others, but it can be as simple as on Mondays you refuse to eat the meat at the dinner table, or you just take less meat than you usually do and more veggies. Veganism is as simple as whatever you are trying to do, and it is greatly appreciated not only by me but by all of these different animals and other people that you are attempting and watching even these videos about veganism. So whether it's just that you refuse to eat meat on Mondays, or it's that you actually are really conscious about it, you are putting in an effort, and to me that does consider you a vegan.
Guys, be vegan.